everyone, welcome back. You are watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now, the show where we get you a wrap of all the big movers and shakers today in trade. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets, meantime, are well, just about slightly lower. We are once again at 11,655. We seem to be sort of aping the kind of move we saw yesterday as well in the first half of the trading session, whereas the broader markets still are holding on a little smartly. The mid-cap index is flat with a positive bias, whereas the small-cap index is in fact gaining with a lot of fervor, 0.5% higher for the small-cap index. But like I said, it's all about individual movers and shakers, and for that, let's bring on board our research analysts as well as technical guests. We have with us Soumya Sharma, Kunal Bothra as always, and we're also going to be joined by Gaurav Ratnaparki, technical analyst with Sher Khan. Good morning to all of you. Thanks so much for joining in. Let's kickstart the show with the very first stock, and it's the perennial newsmaker Jet Airways. Remember that the bidding process is still on. We do have potential suitors that have between today and tomorrow to submit their bids. Soumya, what's the latest?
Well, okay, talking about Jet Airways, well, this is back in news, and Etihad is planning to meet the board to discuss revival plan proposed by lenders before taking call on further investment. Well, that's what's keeping the stock in focus today.
Okay, so that's Jet Airways for you. After all the give and take, it's 0.8% lower. And of course, don't forget, tomorrow as well as the board meeting for Jet Airways, it's going to be an important one to watch out for. Well, moving on to some news from Hindalco. Not such good news. Spillage of bauxite residue at a Jharkhand plant is something that's caused this stock to decline in trade. The alumina plant at Muri has suspended operations. And as you can see on your screens just this morning, you have you also do have some brokerage reports reacting. Morgan Stanley, for one, has a neutral equal weight stance rather, with a target at 211 rupees, as they say that the refinery supplies 12 to 13% of Hindalco's total alumina requirements. And the company says they already do have 1 to 2 months of inventory at their smelters. Hence, they have an equal weight stance. Hindalco is down by 1.3% after all the give and take. Okay, well, we also are joined by Kunal Bothra now. Kunal, you're flagging of Biocon, and in fact, as we speak, it's at the day's high. What is it that you're seeing here?
Yes, Mubina, this was in the, one of my buy calls in the morning pre-market. The stock is forming a bullish inverse head and shoulder pattern. I was expecting a breakout for Biocon. It's been meandering around this 200-day moving average for quite some time now. I believe that most of the pharma stocks, and especially the Nifty Pharma Index, is looking ripe for a breakout. Biocon is one of the pharma stocks, and I believe that the stock is also showing signs of credible breakout. So I think Biocon should be held on to. For anyone who's bought into at in the morning, I believe you can revise the targets now to almost 655, 660 on a short-term basis.
Okay, Biocon is at the day's high, 1.8% higher. Soumya, meantime, more updates from the Vodafone Idea rights issue.
Well, yes, this 25,000 crore rights issue opens today and will close on April 24th. Apart from this, what we're gathering from the reports that Vodafone Idea is expecting Industar's stake sale in about 3-4 months for an approximate value of 5,500 crore. Well, Vodafone Idea holds close to about 11.15% stake in Indus Towers, and they'll be using the money that they'll be raising through this rights issue and through the stake sale to, have an war chest to compete in this highly competitive industry and market.
Okay, and yes, certainly fundraising seems to be the norm of the day for all of these telecom companies. Moving on to another stock that's declining, TCS. Gaurav, off late we have been seeing a lot of strength in the technology stocks today. However, TCS for one seems to be taking a bit of a breather.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, TCS seems to be facing strong resistance near 61.8% retracement of its October decline, which is near 2100. And over there, the stock has a potential to form a double top pattern, which is a bearish pattern. Even the detailed structure shows that the stock has formed a bearish wedge pattern over there. So considering all these structures, I'm expecting a sharp fall in this counter. Unless the level of 2100 gets taken out on closing basis, I'm expecting the stock to come down to 1930, 1900 over next few sessions.
Okay, so that's, Gaurav's view. He's expecting TCS to even fall in that 1900 to 1930 range from here on. And here's an ET Now exclusive, and that is with respect to the second largest private lender, Hdfc Bank. There was a block deal that took place yesterday. Remember, we at ET Now had told you about the same. The deal for Hdfc Bank has been done in the price range of 2250 to 2260 rupees per share. There were multiple block deals, at market open. About 1 crore equity shares in totality have been exchanged. It will be interesting to see who were on the two sides of the transaction this evening when the bulk deal data does get released. That's of course Hdfc Bank. As you can see on your screens, there's been a sharp crack at about 10:30 this morning. That's caused the stock to fall 1.3%. Kunal, Tata Motors, once again auto stocks are on your radar.
So yes, Mavira, and you can't miss the stock out because after years of underperformance, the stock is finally showing some signs of a credible uptrend. So we looked at the charts for Tata Motors on even the smart stock edge segment, and I mentioned that the stock is going through a medium-term breakout where the stock has given indicator breakouts on the monthly charts, and that itself is playing more of an inertia effect for the stock price. It's riding up higher at current levels of 210, 211. I believe that the stock has scope for maybe even as a short-term target of 225 in the near term. So I believe Tata Motors could be bought into even if you're a short-term trader and especially for a long-term player as well.
Okay, Tata Motors, in fact, as we speak, is near the day's high. More than 3% of gains coming in for this auto major. Soumya, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, it's been a big newsmaker, and now there's more fundraising activity one can expect.
Yes, this bank was in last week was in news for its merger with Indiabulls Housing Finance through a share swap deal, and now the company is looking to, the board is mulling at raising funds via shares on April 12th. It's also considering 81 bonds and approving preferential share issue in order to prop up its capital base and in order to sustain its capitals. So that's what keeping the stock in focus today, down by over 5%.
Okay, and remember, this is the second day actually that we are seeing the stock price correct. Remember, Monday we saw that strong reaction come by where the stock was locked in upper circuit post the announcement with Indiabulls, but the last 2 days the stock has been taking it easy. Gaurav, Coal India is one stock that, yesterday and now today as well is seeing quite a smart rally regardless of the way the benchmarks have been moving. What would you recommend here?
Yeah, Coal India was trading in sideways manner for last several sessions. On the downside, it had a strong support near 230, and over there the stock formed a bullish triangular pattern. In the last session, the pattern has broken out on the upside. Also on the way up, the stock has surpassed its crucial daily moving averages. Even the short-term momentum indicator has started its new cycle on the upside from the equilibrium line. So I'm expecting the rally to continue further. The stock can very well surpass its daily upper Bollinger Band and head towards its weekly upper Bollinger Band. So I'm expecting upside till 253, 255.
All right, so yes, Gaurav as well seems to be quite optimistic on this PSU. Meantime, here's another penny stock that we are looking at, and that's Suzlon Limited. Now, the news over here is important because it has announced that it's going to be selling 2 of its solar subsidiaries. That's Austro Energy as well as Shreyas Solar Farms as well as Alok Solar Farms to Renew Power. Remember that it's a 20 megawatt solar energy project in Jodhpur. That's Shreyas Solar. And it's going to be receiving approximately 30 odd crore rupees actually for the sale of these 2 solar subsidiaries. It's an important transaction for Suzlon, and do remember we at ET Now had told you first about this transaction way back in March itself. So Suzlon continues to gain today as well in trade. Moving on to the next stock, Soumya, Century Ply, a downgrade from CLSA.
Well, yes, CLSA has downgraded Century Ply from buy to sell and have put the target price for Century Ply at an approximate value of 174 per share. They say that the plywood margins are likely to remain under pressure, and also on part of the earnings, they see that lack of earnings should lead to muted stock performance, and that's what's keeping the stock down by over 4% today in trade.
All right, yes, it's a 4% decline coming in for the plywood maker. Gaurav, today, once again, may I add, realty stocks are all abuzz. Of course, leading the show is Indiabulls Real Estate, Godrej Properties, even Oberoi Realties, 4% higher. What would you make of this move?
So basically, Oberoi Realty has broken out from a multi-week inverted head and shoulders pattern and is rallying smartly since last few weeks. When the recent structure shows that the stock has formed a bullish flag pattern on the hourly chart, which has broken out on the upside today. The momentum indicators on various time frames are in line with this rally. So I think the stock has the upside potential to head towards 600 mark, and it can even test its all-time high of 610 in the medium term.
Okay, yes, it's possible the stock can test an all-time high of 610 rupees. That's what Gaurav thinks Oberoi could do. ADAG stocks, and the reason we want to flag these off is on account of the Rafale case. Do remember the Supreme Court has ordered that the new evidence which the government did label as secret documents can in fact be entered as evidence during the Rafale investigation. So essentially reopening the entire investigation. So Reliance Naval, Reliance Defense, these are the kind of stocks that you should watch out for. The ADAG stocks will once again come under pressure as the Rafale investigation continues. Soumya, we're seeing a lot of movement in Praj Industries today. What's the reason?
This is stock which has snapped a 7-day losing streak and in fact is among the top gainers on Nifty 500 index. The latest in Praj is the company is offering technology for production of renewable jet fuels in collaboration with Gevo in USA, and the company has also signed a memorandum of understanding to commercialize the latter's renewable hydrocarbon products. Well, that's what's keeping the stock high today by over 6.3% in trade.
All right, and the next stock that we are flagging off is Wipro. Today's Times of India has reported that the company is all set to announce a whopping $1.7 billion buyback. Remember, technology companies have been announcing buybacks for the last couple of days, rather for the last couple of years, and Wipro as well is going to be joining in that crew. Remember, Wipro's already announced a buyback earlier. This would be another buyback that the company could be announcing very soon. This is as per a TOI report. Well, we'll do one thing. We'll take a quick breather right here on the list of the big movers and shakers. Do come right back. This is Market Fatafat. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat. We're flagging off all the big movers and shakers in trade, so let's straight away continue with that. Kunal, there's another auto stock that you're flagging off after Tata Motors. It's Escorts. What's the reason?
So it's a very good chart pattern. Mubina, I'll start off with that because the stock, in proper trend terms, we call it as when the stock rallies, goes through a bit of a consolidation, and then the stock comes back to its medium-term moving averages. That is where we call it as a end of correction or a consolidation, and then the uptrend resumes. The stock is showing exactly those kind of characteristics on the daily charts. It had a very strong uptrend in the start of the month of March, consolidated in between, and now it's looking ripe for yet another breakout on the upside. So I believe it's a very classical kind of a pattern on Escorts, and even if as a short-term play, I think traders can take opportunity of a buy over here. 815 to 820 could be a target range on the stock price.
Okay, and yes, Escorts as well as we speak is as the day is high. So water stocks certainly are showing a lot of momentum today in trade. Soumya, Tata Sponge, an important news update over there.
Yes, Tata Sponge has completed the acquisition of Usha Martin's steel business, and Usha Martin will be transferring its entire steel division business to Tata Sponge. This deal was signed to acquire Usha Martin was in September 2018, and Tata Sponge had paid close to about 4,000 crore rupees for this. So they've completed the acquisition, and that's what is keeping the stock high at 3%, over 3%.
Well, yes, that's right. And do remember that Tata Steel has actually made this acquisition via Tata Sponge of Usha Martin, which, by the way, was an IBC case. They've done so on account of the fact that the product profile of both these companies does complement each other very well. Usha Martin, remember, is in the value-added steel business, and today you are seeing the stock price go up 3%. Okay, Gaurav, let's talk about Delta Corp. This is one stock that has actually been cracking since yesterday. The earnings have been released. We did see volume activity as well come by. What would be your strategy here?
Basically, Delta Corp has been trading in the range-bound manner for the last 8-9 months. Over the period, the stock has formed a triangular pattern, and in the last week, it attempted to break out on the upside. However, couldn't sustain in the higher territory and has fallen back into the triangular pattern. So this shows failure of the pattern breakout. In fact, the move can now be considered as the thrower of a bearish triangular pattern. Even the daily momentum indicator is showing negative divergence, which is a bearish sign. So I'm expecting the fall to continue, and the stock can head towards lower end of the triangular pattern, which is near 230.
Okay, 259 currently for Delta Corp, and Gaurav does expect the stock to perhaps crack a little more. Let's talk about Maruti meantime. Auto stocks, remember, have been in focus, but Maruti, for one, has actually been rising for the last couple of trading sessions. Today, we have Credit Suisse that has maintained a neutral stance with a target at 6,100 rupees for the auto major. They believe that, yes, there will be market share improvement for the company driven by two of its key products, that's Baleno as well as Brezza. However, they do flag off the kind of competition that Brezza could actually face going forward, and not to mention, as Maruti has been doing for the last couple of months along with the rest of the auto sector, they do expect the volumes for the company to disappoint yet again in the following months, and hence they have just about a neutral stance on the stock. We've seen the stock, however, slightly bounce back from the day's low at 71.78. Okay, Kunal, we flagged off earlier about the big buyback for Wipro. Based on the technicals, however, given the fact that the stock has actually been on an uptrend for the last couple of trading sessions, what would you recommend here?
Yeah, I think the stock was building up for this news price, or rather this news in its prices. I think the last 3 days we've seen a decent rally happening in Wipro. But when you look at the short-term charts, the way the stock has, after a month of consolidation, just 2 or 3 days, and the stock has jumped up almost 8 to 10%. It indicates that maybe the stock has entered into some sort of a resistance territory. So this 280 to 284 band, I believe, is a resistance zone for Wipro. And maybe I think if you're a short-term trader, you've already bought the stock earlier, I think it's a good level to book out profits over here. I believe over the next couple of days, if the stock takes resistance over here, it might cool off and come back to those 270, 265 levels once again.
Okay, at the day's high for Wipro. Soumya, an update on that all-important case for Kiri?
Kiri has updated on its new court case of Singapore, wherein they said that Singapore International Commercial Court has reserved judgment in Dystar case, and they'll be further updating of any of the advanced updates and developments as soon as things come to forefront. As of now, stock has been losing, and in fact, the stock was was down for 2 out of the last 3 trading sessions.
Well, yes, and remember, just a reserve judgment at this point of time, so we'll still have to wait by as in when the ICC does decide to deliver its judgment. That's when really we'll be seeing that stock react. Gaurav, Indocount, there is that short-term inclusion in the ASM framework that's perhaps causing this sort of pricing volatility to come by in Indocount. What would be your recommendation here?
I think ICIL is in a process of forming a base for itself. Around 46-48 is a strong support zone for the counter, which can be considered as a buying zone, and any dip towards 48 can be considered as a fresh buying opportunity. The short-term momentum indicator has completed its correction cycle, whereas the weekly momentum indicator is already in bullish mode. So a dip towards 48 will be a fresh buying opportunity with stop loss at 46, and on the higher side I am expecting target at around Delhi upper Bollinger Band, which is somewhere around 60.
Okay, that's a strategy. It's a buy on an Indocount for Gaurav. Info Edge, meantime, it's an important news update coming in for the stock price. It has actually made an acquisition, or rather it's actually increased its stake in an already existing company, Bizcrum Infotech, and this is done so via a unit. It's not that big an investment. It's approximately 6 odd crore rupees. Nevertheless, it's important to address this because it's perhaps one of the reasons why you are seeing the stock price as well react. It's 1.8% higher. Do remember, Bizcrum Infotech is the company that it has invested in. The turnover, not much. It's about 37 odd lakh crore rupees. Remember, Shoe Connect is an associate company of a company, so it's a related party, and the transaction for Info Edge is done at an arm's length. Remember, it's a B2B marketplace for shoes, as the name suggests. 6 crore is the investment via compulsory convertible preference shares, 1.8% higher for Info Edge. Kunal, you continue to flag off Ashok Leyland as well. What's the reason?
The stock had a fantastic uptrend yesterday. There was a typical or a classical price volume breakout on the stock price. It moved out of a sideways range. Bollinger Bands and many of the indicators which we generally use out for when the stock consolidates, that gave a classic breakout. Today the stock is taking a breather, but I believe that after yesterday's a strong price rally, even if the stock action is muted today, I think it's a sign that there could be an impending price up move for Ashok Leyland. So I believe a short-term trader should try and use the opportunity of even marginal dips which you're seeing today on Ashok Leyland as a good opportunity. I think the stock is poised for a 96 to 98 kind of a trend breakout on the short-term charts.
Well, yes, the stock is today taking a breather after running up quite a bit for the last 2-3 trading sessions, but Kunal still continues to be very optimistic. Soumya, another stock that's really running up without a breather is actually Indiabulls Real Estate.
Well, yes, it is continuing its up move for the fourth straight session, and not just Indiabulls. In fact, the entire realty pack has been buzzing today. Talking particularly about Indiabulls Real Estate, the stock has surged by more than 30% in the last 4 days and happens to be the top Nifty 500 index gainer today. So the stock merely gaining by over 9% today.
Well, yes, and this stock certainly has been showing a lot of pricing action accompanied with volumes for the last couple of days. Gaurav, Godfrey Phillips as well is a big mover today in trade. What would you recommend here?
Yeah, I think Godfrey Phillips is in process of forming an impulse on the upside. The correction in the last week can be marked as wave 4, and today the stock has started fifth leg on the upside, which means that the stock has a decent upside potential even from current level. The risk-reward ratio at this level is in favor of bulls to initiate a fresh long position. So one can buy the stock with stop loss somewhere around 1098, and on the higher side short-term target will be 1200, whereas medium-term target will be 1270.
3.9% higher for Godfrey Phillips, and Gaurav has a buy recommendation here. Let's talk about another big gainer today in trade. In fact, it's one of the top Nifty 500 gainers. It's Dilip Bilkon. More than 3% of gains coming in over there at 629 rupees. Remember, the last 2 trading sessions have been seeing the stock crack. Today, however, it snapped that losing streak, and now at a level of 630 rupees, the stock is actually perched at a 1-week high. So great recovery witnessed in the stock price today in trade. And Soumya, Sterlite Tech, however, continues to decline.
Well, yes, it's a top Nifty Mid-Cap 150 index loser, and it happens to be falling for the 3rd consecutive session. Well, this stock fall comes after Moody's withdrew its credit rating. Well, the company said that they have reviewed the need. They were reviewing the need for multiple credit rating agencies and have decided to reduce the interactions to just 2 agencies, CRISIL and ICRA. And since the company has no debt instruments rated by Moody's, they found it prudent to not include them in the list of credit rating agencies, and has requested Moody's to withdraw the rating from the company.
And it's another 3% fall coming in for Sterlite Tech today in trade. Well, with that, we're out of time. So, Gaurav, thanks so much for joining in and sharing your technical strategies with our viewers. Kunal and Soumya, to you as well. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.